It's kind of obvious, but if you want to make more money, you have to close more deals. And the quickest way to close more deals is to make your sales conversations more effective. But here's the thing, I'm not going to give you a list of 10 random magic sentences to say or random words to avoid, because that's not what you need. To close more deals, what you need is to understand why your sales conversations make your prospects ghost you in the first place before you can even start to improve them. So in this video, I'm going to give you 7 strategies to immediately improve your sales conversation. If you implement all of these steps, I guarantee you will close more deals. And I know this works because I'm a salesperson who has sold for small startups all the way up to Fortune 500 companies like Salesforce. I know the power of meaningful conversations, and these are the secrets of how I'm in control in almost every sales conversation. Step number 1, be fully present. Now, have you ever been in a conversation where you could tell the other person wasn't really paying attention? It's, well, pretty much frustrating. Now, imagine how your prospects feel when you're more focused on the next line of your pitch rather than their actual problems. That's why being fully present during sales calls is so important. Being present means giving your prospect 100% of your attention, not 90, not 95, but 100. Start by eliminating distractions, turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, and silence your phone. Show your prospect that this call is actually a priority for you. And look, it's not just about listening to their words, it's about tuning into their emotions and what they actually mean behind the words. Are they frustrated, excited? Maybe they're even stressed. These cues give you insight into what is the driving force to their decisions. Look, the truth is that prospects can tell when someone is genuinely listening versus when they're just nodding along to everything they say. A distracted salesperson comes across as uninterested or even unprofessional. So on the flip side, when you're fully engaged, the prospect feels valued and heard, and that's where trust begins. So here's a quick tip. During the call, repeat key points and share how you're actually listening to them. For example, if they're mentioning a challenge with, let's say, a customer or customer retention, let's say, for example, respond with something like, so customer retention has been a big challenge for your team lately. How is this impacting the rest of the organization? This small act reinforces the connection. Being present doesn't just set the tone for the conversation, it lays the entire foundation for the entire relationship. And look, when your prospect actually feels heard, they're far more likely to open up and actually share their insights that you need to close a deal. So now that you're actually fully present, let's talk about an overlooked secret: reading nonverbal cues. This is the key to understanding what your prospects are saying without them having to say it. Step 2, pay attention to nonverbal cues. Look, words are powerful, but did you know most communication happens without any words at all? Research shows that 65% of communication is actually nonverbal. That means your prospect's body language, vocal tonality, and pace of speech can reveal just as much, if not even more, than what they're actually saying. Now, I know this sounds a little woo-woo, but picture this. Let's say, for example, your prospect says they're doing fine with a current solution, but their tone is flat and they're leaning back in their chair, and ask yourself, are they truly satisfied or are they just brushing you off? Paying attention to these nonverbal cues give you the upper hand in understanding what they really mean. Start with body language, right? Are they leaning forward? That's a sign of interest. Are their arms crossed? They might be feeling a little bit defensive because of what's going on in the conversation. Match their energy to build rapport and also empathy. And if they're relaxed and casual, for example, you can become a little bit more relaxed and casual too. If they're formal and precise, you as well. Here's a pro tip. Your body language matters too. Smile when appropriate, nod to show you understand them, and stay open body language, and inviting gestures are really helpful as well. Lastly, understanding nonverbal communication isn't just about, let's say, being observant. It's about using those observations to create a conversation that feels natural and personalized. At the end of the day, this is your responsibility as a salesperson and as the leader of the conversation. And speaking of leading conversations, that brings us to our next point. Step number 3, ask open-ended questions. Now, look, pop quiz. What's the fastest way to kill a conversation? Think about it. And if you answer asking closed ended questions, congratulations, you nailed it. Are you happy with your current solution? Might seem straightforward, but it's actually leading you to a dead end of yes or no, or even worse, I'm not sure. Instead, open ended questions unlock a deeper, more meaningful conversation, and they're your secret weapon in sales. Instead of asking something like, is this a problem for you and your team? You can say something like, can you help me understand what are some of the bottlenecks you're facing in this area with your team? Open ended questions give your prospect room to explain their situation, which helps you uncover the valuable insights you need to know. Here's an example. Say you're selling software and the prospect mentions struggling, let's say, with efficiency. Let's say you can follow up with, what's your current process like and how does it impact your team's workflow? This not only gets them talking, but also helps you identify potential pain points they might not even realize they have. But asking great questions is only half of the battle. The real magic happens when you actually listen to the answers. Resist, and I mention again, resist the urge to jump in and interrupt them. This pretty much destroys all of the work you've done because the whole point of asking a question is to get an answer. But if you answer your own question, then you're not getting the answers and it's a mess. So you want to ask the questions, and something Will always says is just shut up every time you ask a question and just wait for the answer. The reality is if you have this ability to just hold still, to be still and be silent, the answers that you're going to get more answers than you even were honestly looking for. And that's the magic of just staying silent and listening. Step number 4, dig deeper. Look, great conversations don't just skim the surface. They uncover the core motivations and challenges of your prospects. To do this, you have to dig deeper. And we can do this by start building on the insights your prospects already share with you. If they mentioned a challenge, ask a probing follow-up question like, what's the root cause of that issue? Or let's say something like, how has that impacted your team's performance? These questions invite the prospect to open up and provide a clearer picture of their needs. So don't be afraid to explore sensitive topics with, obviously you want to do it carefully and professionally, but you want to dig deep. For instance, if they're hesitant to make the change, right, you could ask something like, what concerns you most about switching to a new solution? So this is not only revealing of their hesitations, but also positions you as someone who genuinely cares about their problems, not just somebody trying to make a sale. And here's another tip. Use silence strategically. After asking a question, pause and let them think. Often, prospects will fill the silence with valuable details they might not have shared otherwise. When you dig deeper, you uncover the true pain points and aspirations that drive your prospects' decision-making behavior. This pretty much lays the groundwork for addressing their needs specifically and ultimately closing the deal, which is what you care about the most. And to ensure your prospect feels truly understood, the next step is to reflect on what they've shared. Step number 5, reflect on what you hear. Ever had some people repeat back what you said and it instantly made you feel understood? That's the power of reflecting. It's not just about, let's say, paraphrasing what somebody else is saying. It's about showing your prospect that you actively care about what they're saying and that you're actively listening. Now, reflecting starts by simply summarizing or rephrasing what the prospect has just said to you, right? For example, if they say something like, we're losing time because our processes are very outdated at the moment, you could respond with something like, well, it sounds like your team is frustrated with inefficiencies caused by perhaps some of the older systems that you currently have in place. Is that right? This technique validates their feelings while giving them, let's say, a chance to clarify or elaborate further. Reflection also helps avoid misunderstandings. Sometimes what a prospect says and what they mean aren't exactly the same thing. So by reflecting back, you ensure that you're both on the same page. And here's the beauty of it. When prospects feel seen and heard, this builds a lot of trust and is a cornerstone for successful sale, especially down the line when you actually need a signature. But don't stop there. use reflection to dig a little bit deeper. For example, after paraphrasing, follow up with, did I get that right? Or what other ripple effects have you seen this impact have on the rest of the team? These follow ups keep the conversation flowing and uncover valuable details. Reflecting builds trust. But what happens when the conversation, well, slows down a little bit? Let's talk about the power of patience in uncovering even more insights. Step 6, be patient. Patience might seem like a strange skill for sales, right? But it's often the difference between rushed conversations and a meaningful conversation. Let's think about it for a second. When was the last time you felt truly listened to? It probably wasn't when somebody kept interrupting or rushing to answer you, right? In sales, patience creates the space your prospect needs to think, process, and, well, just respond to you. One of the hardest moments in sales is that awkward silence. You ask a question and the prospect pauses. Your instinct right away, like we spoke about earlier, might be to fill that silence with more information or maybe even a follow up question, but simply don't. Instead, give them time to gather their thoughts. A few seconds of silence may feel a little bit uncomfortable, but it's often where the most valuable insights emerge. Finally, remember that patience isn't just about silence, it's about a mindset. Listen to understand, not just to respond back to them. When you approach the conversation, be patient, have an open attitude, and prospects will feel valued and respected, making them more likely to trust you and, well, share everything they're struggling honestly. Now, patience unlocks hidden insights, but how do you ensure your prospect feels comfortable sharing those insights in the first place? Let's explore the art of withholding judgment while getting into the pains and challenges of our prospects. Step 7, withhold judgment. Now, imagine opening up about a problem only to be met with criticism or like some weird dismissive comment. Will you keep talking to that person? Probably not. In sales, prospects need to feel that they're safe and in a safe space where there's no judgment and where they can simply share about the problems and pains that they're facing. Without that trust, they'll shut down and the conversation will just hit a dead end. Withholding judgment starts with empathy. Instead of simply rushing to fix or critique what your prospect says, focus on understanding their perspective. For example, let's say if they admit to struggling with a failed project, for example, resist the urge to question their choices. Instead, say something like, "Oh, that sounds like a tough situation, Mark. What do you think contributed to that outcome in the first place?" Nonverbal cues matter here too, so keep your tone neutral, your body language open, and your facial expressions calm. That's something I have to work on. Even if you're surprised by what they share, any signs of negativity, even if it's unintentional, can make the prospect, well, simply close down and not open up to you. By withholding judgment, you turn your sales conversation into a stronger partnership. The prospect feels safe enough to share honestly, giving you a deeper insights into what they're actually going through. And when they feel actually understood, they're more likely to trust you and also your solution, which is going to help you close that deal. So at this point, you've created a safe space, but how do you steer the conversation towards an actionable solution? Let's cover that next. Bonus, close with confidence. Closing the conversation in a way that moves the deal forward. Here's the key. Don't rush for a commitment right away. Instead, aim to just simply secure the next step, whether it's a follow-up call, a meeting, or a demo. For example, you can say, based on what you've shared with me today, Clarice, it seems like X solution could really help you address Y specific problem that she's dealing with. Will you be open to simply explore if we can help your team as well this week? This approach feels natural and collaborative, not pushy. And if the prospect hesitates, don't panic. Offer additional resources, such as maybe a case study or a product overview, and suggest checking back in, reconnecting to continue the deal moving forward. Remember, closing isn't about forcing a yes on the spot. It takes a little bit of time in B2B complex sales. So it's actually about maintaining momentum and keeping the conversation alive. And if you're ready to take your sales game even further than what we took it today, click on the video on the screen right now and learn how to handle objections like a pro. Trust me, mastering objections is the perfect complement to what we've covered here today, so I'll see you there.